Time-Sert thread repair. Here you can see the threads in this hole are just chewed up and stripped out. If we place a bolt in the hole and try to tighten it up, you'll see that it just spins and spins. This bolt won't tighten up. This is because the threads are stripped out inside that hole. Once the bolt is removed, we'll see the threads come out of the hole with the threads on the bolt. Here you can see the threads from the hole just pulling out with the bolt. And you can see how chewed up it is inside that hole. Even worse than it was a few minutes ago. Now we're going to perform the thread repair. First, we need to choose the drill bit. Put a little bit of cutting lube onto the hole, as well as onto the drill bit. Now place the drill bit into an electric drill. Sometimes this drill bit will catch on the threads, since it's only cutting the threads out, and it'll be hard for the drill to cut it out, but we'll give it a try. Here we can see that the bit is binding, so we may have to reverse the drill and go forward several times. Sometimes pulling the bit out of the hole and spinning the drill a little bit as we try to put it in the hole will cut the threads. We also have to make sure that the drill is going to cut straight up and down. If you continue to have problems, this particular drill bit does have a square end to it. With the square end, we can use the T-handle that we use for cutting threads with a tap. Here we'll put the T-handle on it and finish off the hole with the drill bit with the T-handle. Sometimes this is easier if the drill continues to bind. Now once the drill is out, we have to clean all the metal shavings off. Make sure you got your safety glasses on before you blow any air. Clean the hole and clean the drill bit. In addition, we're going to use a little bit of brake clean to clean the rest of this off. Now we need the bevel cutting tool. Choose it from the kit. This has a special edge on it. This edge is designed to place a recess into the hole we cut, so the top part of the Time-Sert will fit into. Place the cutting tool into your drill bit. Run the drill. It'll have a self-stop. It'll put a beveled cut or recess about 1 to 2 millimeters below the hole. This is for the Time-Sert to sit into. Go ahead and clean it off with a little bit of brake clean and air. And then clean your tool. The next step will be to use the tap to cut new threads into this hole. These threads will be the size of the Time-Sert. Place a little cutting lube onto the tap and place the tap into the hole. When you use the T-handle, you're going to have to make sure that the threads cut straight up and down. Carefully start the tap, making sure that it is perpendicular to your hole. Once I get a bite, I take a look to make sure the tap is straight. Then I can continue on with cutting the threads through the rest of the hole. Here the thread cutting process has been speeded up. Normally you would take much more care in this and go slower. This is to save time in the video. Once the threads are cut all the way through, go ahead and remove the tap. And clean the metal shavings off. Again, we'll use a little bit of brake clean and some compressed air. These threads should be the perfect size for the Time-Sert. And there's a nice view of how nice those cutted threads look. You'll notice that the 8mm bolt does not fit into that hole. That's because these new threads are for the Time-Sert. Once the Time-Sert is placed in there, the finished product will fit the 8mm by 1.25 threads per inch. Here's your Time-Serts. These are long ones and short ones, depending upon the depth you need. Take a look at the edge. The inner edge is beveled down and the threads don't go all the way. This is to ensure the Time-Sert sits properly. And on the other side, you'll see the beveled edge. That's the top part that sits into the recess. Now we need the insert tool. The insert tool has a real special design. A little difficult to show, but I'll give it a try. Here you can see the shiny and dull edges where the arrows point to. Actually, the left arrow is a flatter edge than the right arrow. In a different view, maybe you can see it. And finally, a final view. If you take a look where the square is and where the arrows point to, those edges are a little bit flatter. We're now going to use some premium light lubricant to lubricate the install tool threads. Then we're going to clean the hole because we didn't want any lubricant in that hole. Now go ahead and thread the tool into the Time-Sert. At some point it's going to bind. It does not go all the way down. Once it starts to bind, go ahead and thread the insert into the newly cut hole. This will thread all the way down, and the top edge will fit into the recess that we cut previously. Once this happens, install the T-bar and thread the tool all the way down. This tool will expand the Time-Sert into the hole, forcing it against the edges, and that will keep it in place. Special threads on the tool will clean the threads at the bottom of the hole where it was originally pinched. Thread the tool all the way down and then remove it. Go ahead and clean the tool and blow it off with a little air. Now go ahead and take the bolt and give it a try. You notice that I speeded this up as well. The bolt threads down properly into the hole, and when we put a socket on it, it will tighten up nicely. We now have a properly repaired 8mm by 1.25 threaded hole using the Time-Sert. Once you remove the bolt, you can take a closer look at my new Time-Sert into the hole. It sits down flush into the recess. It's been expanded against the hole so it'll stay in place. And if you flip it over, you'll go ahead and be able to see it didn't necessarily go all the way through, but there's plenty of threads for the bolt to hold on to.